And up next, boy, how much did the Smollett case cost the city of Chicago? Not just monetarily, but in resources that could have been better served out in the community. Well, while total cost and man hours committed will not come out unless Smollett is actually charged, we are told they went well beyond what a comparable investigation of this sort would require normally. And what about the actual crimes committed since Smollett made his claims? These are the stats the police shared with us today. From January 28th, the day before the alleged Smollett incident, through February 17th, Chicago reported 22 murders, 134 instances of criminal sexual assault, 342 robberies, and 288 instances of aggravated battery. And what about the backlog of unsolved murders in the city? Well, back in 2000, the city solved 41% of murders that occurred that year. In 2009, only 30% of murders were solved. Well, by 2017, just 17% of murders were solved. So they got to focus all their resources on fixing that. Joining us now is someone with intimate knowledge of that force, is former Chicago officer Dimitri Roberts. Dimitri, what is the feeling among the Chicago PD, do you think, now with everything that's happened, all the man hours taken away?
Well, I can tell you as somebody who's been on those streets many a nights and worked similar cases, it's frustrating when you have a situation like this where at a minimum, you would expect the victim to cooperate fully and willingly in such a high-profile case and one that has brought national media attention, and that's just not happening. So the officers that I've spoke with are extremely frustrated with what's going on, but more so, as we've talked about, Laura, on several occasions, it's taking critical resources off the streets.
Well, we're told that he's not cooperating with the police. His lawyer's like, well, he's being victimized by these allegations all over again. Kind of blaming the police.
Yeah.
He's not going to talk. How do they get him to talk?
Well,
You're going to subpoena him?
Well, I mean, it depends, but I don't know that they're going to waste additional resources with going through subpoenas and the judicial process to get him to talk further about what obviously at this point seems to be some false statements that have been made and some events that we already have uncovered to be untrue. So I don't know that they're going to waste more precious resources and money. So just a grand jury charge him? Well,
Class 4 felony or nothing?
They could do that, but in most cases, given the backlog of crimes and incidents that are going on in Chicago, unfortunately, this will probably fall by the wayside once it's out of the news cycle. Not something I agree with, but probably the facts about what's going to happen behind this case.
Okay, that is outrageous.
I would.
But look at all the unsolved murders.
I mean, you know,
But people are going to keep doing these fake hoaxes.
Let's hope
if they can get away with it. If they can get away with what he seems to have done here. Wow.
Well, I think that's why we have to bring attention to these things. We have to talk about them in the national media, and we really have to shed light on situations where people are taking such egregious crimes like hate crimes and in a very heated political climate in this country, bringing issues and taking away advocacy around things that should be advocated.
Well, Cardi B on Instagram, she said, I don't want to completely blame him because, you know, like somebody that I was talking to, they said police in Chicago are racist. That genius, Cardi B. So they might probably try to frame him and make him look like he's a liar. Now, Chicago PD racist, Dimitri?
Absolutely not. I'm not a racist. I've served in these communities. I've served my community very well, and most of the officers are doing the same thing. I'm not saying that there aren't some bad apples there, but I think Cardi B speaking a little bit out of ignorance here, and she needs to give a little more credit to the officers that she may have to call in an instance where she's going to need some help herself.
Dimitri, thanks so much. Great analysis.